Hello and welcome to Unlock Your Life. I'm your host, Jennings Smith. Guys, today I have an extremely important guest on, a close friend of mine, business partner, longtime deal room member. This guy has closed multiple apartment deals, made progress, totally changed his life, is on a different trajectory, working to go into real estate full time. And I wanted to have him on the show to kind of share his perspective and really get into some of the struggles of finding a deal, the loneliness, is this going to work? Should I keep on going? Breaking through on those partnerships, closing his first deal, and how that led on to more and more deals. And just give us the backstory behind what it takes to find a deal, to fund a deal, to close a deal. So welcome, Mohit Chopra. I appreciate you being on the show, man.
Thank you, Jennings, and appreciate the intro. And hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so Mohit, I met you, I remember, you called in, you were looking to get into real estate. You joined the deal room, and I think you had like a duplex and maybe a triplex in North Carolina at that time?
Yeah, I had about 9 units, a single family and duplexes only, nothing in multifamily space, right?
Gotcha. And you were working as a engineer, right? Like a chemical engineer, is that right?
Yeah, so engineering background, but yes, in a management role within a large corporation, yes.
Gotcha. So I want to start with, everybody thinks, oh man, it'd be nice to do stuff. I'd love to get more real estate. And how did you buy those first couple deals? Let's start with those 9 units. Like, were you saving up the down payment? How did you get those units done?
Yeah, so for those first ones, yes, I did save up money over years. Again, we had saved money into and put money into regular stocks and other stuff. And then once I decided to move into real estate after my MBA, I started utilizing some of those funds to purchase some of these assets, which is what I utilized some of the saved money from my savings into purchasing a smaller single family and duplexes in North Carolina.
Gotcha. Okay. And so then what made you decide, hey, I want to get bigger deals. I want to buy apartment complex. I want to make a shift.
So it started with the fact, with the realization, I'm trying to remember, it was early 2019, 2020, when I had gone through 2 years of these investing and having to go through rent collections and multiple other aspects. I'm trying to look at what did I get in here for, which was cash flow. And I try to extrapolate based on what I had projected versus what I have actually achieved during the last 2 years, how much time it would take. And I realized it's going to take me at least 10 to 15 more years to get through the level of cash flow that I needed to be able to do what I wanted to do. So the realization hit really hard that this is not going to be pace fast enough that will help me to get to where I want to be. And then I started looking into what are the other options. I didn't want to get into like high risk. Again, I wanted to stay within real estate. The reason being, I know that this is a sure shot in terms of achieving that. Didn't want to get into stocks or other high risk different categories. So I try to look into what other options I can do within real estate. And that's how I started looking into multifamily and came across MFIM, talked to a few people within the group before I joined. Again, I'm a little skeptic by nature. So I didn't really just jump in the first opportunity I got. I did some research on MFIM, talked to a few people about what they have done and what they saw in terms of value from the group. And I talked with you before I joined it. And then I joined, and the rest has been history after that.
Okay, so I love that you said you kind of sat down and did the math. And I remember with my kind of like light bulb moment, I was listening to the 10X rule and Grant Cardone, and he talks about that. Like, do the math. Where do you want to be? How much money do you want to make per month? And how long is it going to take you to get there? And what do you need to do that? And when I did the math, I think I had, like 7 single family and mobile homes. And to me, it was like, this is going to take me 30 years if I could even find that many deals. Like, it's just, it didn't seem feasible at the time to do that. But I want to drill further into that because anybody can do a math equation. Like, Why did you need to replace your income? I mean, you're making good money. Your wife's making good money. You have a pretty, comfortable lifestyle. So why did you need to make that cash flow?
Yeah. So this is an important point. I think everybody has a different point of realization. In my case, it was specifically in 2017 timeframe, um, where my wife had a really difficult situation at work, and she wanted to quit, and she asked me if she could quit. We had recently had a newer home. We had recently had our second child around that time, and also in my job, as it happens every year or 2 years, we were going through a corporate restructure, and my job was one of the few identified that was on the chopping block. So I had about 60 days to find a alternate role in the organization. And at that point, I mean, again, I'm still making decent money, but what it made me realize was that no matter how hard I work, we are still a number in a big scheme of things for these big corporations, and I don't control my destiny. Yes, I mean, at that time, I wanted to take control of my destiny, even though after working that many years, it's made me realize that we are just like a rat in a wheelhouse, right? So we're just churning on and keep going, but we don't really control our destiny. I couldn't do what I wanted to do, which I really wanted to do was be able to tell my wife, yes, you can quit, and because I have security or surety of what I will continue to earn.
Wow.
Um, so
Okay.
that's the realization point.
Okay. So,
And
so
that's how I took it.
your wife was in a difficult situation at work. You got a couple of kids. She comes to you and asks you, "Can I quit my job? Like, I don't want to do this." And you're also going through maybe corporate layoffs. Your job is on the chopping block, and it's like this American dream, this safety and security of the corporate world. You're recognizing I'm just a number on a spreadsheet here, and I'm really not as secure as I thought I was.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Again, it's a very revealing moment internally. You almost feel like by yourself, like exposed to yourself from an inner human being perspective as to what you've done, what you've accomplished, means what at this time, and it didn't really translate into what you were hoping it to be. But
Hmm.
16 plus years working for the organization of what you will be in a position. And this is after years of hard work as well, like going through different job roles, job positions, going through really difficult assignments as well. So that was the turning point. That's when I realized that there is a security aspect there, but that's at a big cost, that you don't control your destiny.
Hmm. Wow. Well, and so you decided to do something about it.
That's when I decided to do something about it. Luckily, I had just completed my MBA as well, and I had gotten through some real estate courses as part of the MBA, and I was already thinking about what I'm going to do after completion, and it piqued my interest, and we started investing. It again, being an engineer, spent about 3 to 6 months analyzing different markets. Did a whole spreadsheet about 25 different markets, aspects about economy, jobs, income, growth, all the other aspects that we all look for, and identified 3 different markets where I started investing in.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, let's go back to you had a call with me. You decide, all right, I want to buy multifamily. This is the way to scale the portfolio, build the cash flow I want, build the net worth I want. You get in and you're excited, right? You're pumped up. I'm gonna buy multifamily. Deal's gonna fall into my lap. I've got all these investors and partners, and this is gonna be easy. And talk to me about reality and that setting in. And who did you need to become to actually close that first deal?
So It's amazing, like the way you said, like it was really exciting in front because again, the excitement comes from motivation, and the motivation comes from the fact that I had something further forward to look forward to, right, in the future, and which was I'm going to go buy a multifamily. So I started off going through your course. Again, your coursework laid out step by step, different aspects. Started with the underwriting, acquisition. Started looking into making sure that I understand underwriting. Even though I'm an engineer, it's a different type of underwriting in terms of the details that we have and things that we analyze as part of apartments versus single family. Um, Different expense ratios, different aspects within expenses, including property management and other aspects. So I delved, first 2 months, I delved into learning all that. I started underwriting deals, bringing it into our underwriting call, where I got smacked a couple of times by Tim on not doing it right big in the beginning. And I learned, again, this is how I learned, by being wrong multiple times. But I made sure that I had the fundamentals correctly established, which was the underwriting, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first 2 months were exciting still because I was learning, I was executing stuff, and I was trying to improve. But after that, once you see that your underwriting is correct and your deals aren't panning out, it started to get a little bit, the excitement and the motivation slowly drives down a little bit, and that's what happened with me as well. It's month 5 into month 9, and I'm still underwriting, and not able to find anything that pans out. We submitted multiple LOIs as well. Nothing gets under contract. So I believe this is one thing. In month 6, I did reach out to a few members who had successfully closed deals within the MFIM group, and they all shared, like, they all went through the same journey as well. The duration during which you have to go through and keep building through it is different for each individual, but it's a similar story. In my case, month 5 through month 9 was almost the time where I almost quit as well. I'm like, I was thinking this is not going to pan out. Maybe this is something I tried and it didn't work. But I persevered based on the conversation with few members, and I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did.
I mean,
And then lucky. I mean, again, this is what I say. I keep saying it's lucky, but at the same time, it's the perseverance, it's the action that brings you the luck as well. So it's 9 months, about 1,000+ deals that we underwrote. I finally found the first one that I closed, which was a Barberton. And lucky enough, it happened to be the deal where I partnered up with you, Jennings, and you happened to be in the area when I found the deal. You were generous enough. At that time, we didn't even talk about partnership. You were, because you are leader of this group, you were generous enough to give me confidence that you can walk through the property, and you did. And after that, you told me this is a solid deal. Like, building looks nice, everything is well maintained, there is no delayed maintenance, and I put the LOI for that same day.
okay, let me rewind a little bit because I don't want to skip over this because a lot of people, I see a lot of people here, and a lot of people, they reach that point and they do give up. Right? It's very easy to get excited. It's easy to go through a course and learn the materials. It's even fairly easy to underwrite, and that is the foundational. You have to know what the property's worth and what it will be worth, so that you have assurances that I can take debt on this and I can raise money for this. But that perseverance of, okay, I'm getting another opportunity. I'm spending the time to figure out the numbers, and I get to the end of the road and there's just nothing there. The seller wants 50% more than it's worth, and it really just is not a deal. On to the next one, on to the next one. And if you don't get momentum and you don't get a win, it's very difficult to kind of proceed. And a lot of people do say, well, this doesn't work, which logically we know it does work. I mean, you see people that all over the world, all over the United States, all in the deal room, they're closing deals, and they're closing deals consistently, and they're getting opportunities and making that happen. So we do know it works, and we know it's worth it to work on this problem. But can you take me, like, why do you think you didn't quit? Like, what did you go back to? What did you hold on to say, you know what, I'm going to go after one more deal. I'm going to make one more call. I'm going to figure out one more deal.
So there were two aspects for that. I mean, like I said, I was at a stage where I almost thought about quitting as well. Like not quitting per se, but basically thinking of going into some other direction, but basically quitting, looking into multifamily. So the two aspects that really pushed me continue forward. Number one, like I said, the conversation with other deal members. I reached out. I put a post out there on Facebook. If you go back, you will see it in the group. Not finding anything, feeling demotivated, and then a few people reached out for support, and I talked to a few as well. Um, and then these are the people who didn't really need to talk to me because, again, I'm talking about folks who already had closed 10, 12 deals, and they were really busy individuals as well. But this is the part of the community that's really helpful also, right? This is not a solo journey that you're doing by yourself. So that conversation with people who have gone through the journey really helps to see that you're not alone. You're not going through this by yourself. People have done that. People have gone through that, and they have persevered through. And you just have to get through this cycle of life with regards to your multifamily journey as well. And then the second aspect was uh, in terms of identifying the opportunities and building partnerships. What I realized as part of this conversation was also that I've already laid down a lot of groundwork. I've already built connections with a lot of brokers during those 1,000+ deals that I underwrote. I've already done the groundwork with regards to talking with multiple members of MFIM group of possible collaboration and building partnership. So if I walked away from all that, I'm just giving up on all the work and the foundation that I already laid. So it was at the time that somebody gave me an analogy of you've already built the foundation. You're not seeing the house being built, but the foundation's been built. So why quit now?
And I want to hit on that because, okay, backstory, I was in Ohio. I was up in Canton, Ohio, which is where my wife is from. And I was visiting her folks, I think, for 4th of July, or I don't even remember if it was Christmas or was it summertime?
It was summertime. Yeah, so it was summer.
So, yeah, I was up there for 4th of July, kind of bored out of my mind. And I'm leading an underwriting call. And Mohit submits this deal, and I'm looking at the underwriting, and I've seen many of Mohit's deals, and I've seen him consistently show up to these calls, submit stuff, kind of get feedback, try to, adjust his offer, and it didn't go anywhere. And I see this deal, and I thought, man, this deal looks pretty good. Like, these numbers look solid. And I'm like, I wonder where Barberton is. And I look it up on my phone, and it's like 15 minutes from Canton. And I'm like, babe, I'm busy. I got to go do some work. I was like looking for an opportunity to get out of the house. And so I call you and I'm like, hey man, I'm going to swing by that property and check it out for you. I'm only 15 minutes away because when you're underwriting, sometimes stuff looks good online and it really isn't great in person.
Right.
But, and as I went there and looked at it, I saw, okay, this is a viable deal. This is a good deal. The next comment I made was, are you looking for partnerships? Like, how are you going to fund this down payment, the loan sponsorships, et cetera? And that conversation happened because the foundation was there. I had seen you, show up consistently. I'd seen you go through material. I'd seen your underwriting get consistently better. I knew the numbers that you had put in are sound and solid and that you'd done your homework. And I kind of saw the character of, okay, this guy's persistent. He's careful. He's competent. He knows his stuff at this point. Like, I think that he really could follow through on this deal. And that's where, opportunity met somebody that could help you get the deal done. And that is so true. It's like people want to jump into like, well, I'm going to close a multifamily deal my first week, but let's be real. These are, $1 million, multi-million-dollar deals, and you're talking about people giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars and signing their name on debt for you, et cetera, et cetera. Like, they're not going to do that unless you've kind of walked through the fire with them and proven your mettle and have a relationship there. And that's what you did in those first 6 months, was laying that foundation. So I'm glad you hit on that because that is why that deal came together. If you had found that deal the first week, I don't know. I mean, maybe we could have found somebody to help you out, but it's like I had seen you walk through those steps.
Right. And I appreciate that because, again, like I said, it was at that time, I didn't believe that, I'll be able to make that partnership with you who, was at a much bigger stage and leading the group versus, where I was, which is basically starting in the multifamily journey at that time.
And guys, if you're listening to this and you want to hear the full breakdown and story about that deal and the numbers behind it, you can listen to episode 116. I dig deep into that deal, what we paid for it, and how we've structured the down payment. There was some owner financing there. It's a really cool story. We cash out refied like $250,000. So check out episode 116 if you want to hear more about the Barberton deal. All right, Mohit. So you got that one closed, you got a little bit of momentum, and then it seemed like, the doors open for you. And I see that a lot where people close the first deal and all of a sudden they realize, wow, this is possible. And it gives them a ton more credibility after you close that first deal.
Yes, indeed. And I think it works both ways, right? Number one, I think it's just a confidence booster for you personally, that you're able to go through that cycle. And secondly, it's just the beginners or the rookie luck as well. Like once you close the first one, deals flow better, and just happened to be that way with me as well. Within the span of 12 months, I closed 3 more deals. Found business partners within the group as well. Found great opportunities to close, but also execute the business plan across these multiple assets as well.
Right. So you closed 3 more deals, you said, in the next 12 months, right? And those deals, just to be clear, I was not in on. So you found another partner, Mariana, and so
JC.
it's like the depth of the deal room is there as far as other partnerships, other loan sponsors, other capital raisers. So tell me a little bit more about those 3 deals.
Yeah, so I think Mariana already discussed in one of the sessions with you about how we connected and the history behind it. I mean, she wasn't looking into Ohio, and we are in 2 different states, but we connected through MFIM. We connected actually during a deal sprint, in which I didn't realize, like, deal sprint can bring so many different values as well, not just that you close the deal during the deal sprint, but building those connections as well, which is what happened with me as well. So the first deal she brought in, she had a 12 unit that she got through a wholesaler. She didn't know much about Ohio market. She reached out to me and we chatted more because we had earlier connected during the deal sprint, like I said. And we found the opportunity and the underwriting really good. It was a little bit of capex, and we were able to get appropriate debt structure in place, and we closed the deal. That led to the second deal that I found in Cleveland area, again, closer to where I had the Barberton one. It was a 16 unit again, true value at opportunity. We closed again. And then we found another one, 18 unit, that I closed within the third deal that I closed.
Gotcha. So the dominoes started falling. Now, let's kind of fast forward to today but thinking back to that moment in time back in 2019, what does it mean for you and your family and your wife? Like, I know you're still working for the corporation, but how has your perspective shifted now, and where do you see this thing going, and how different do you feel now?
Oh, it's very, very different in terms of security that you have on the back of your mind in terms of what you're building. Again, what I've done so far in the journey, it's a small step. Again, I'm started to walk now. I'm not running yet, but it's taking those small steps. So from a journey perspective, I do still have the W-2. The W-2 has helped me get additional debt because of the income. But that's what I'm using W-2 now for. It's, again, one of the the supporting pillars to support my real estate investments now. It's not my only job or only thing that I'm
Mm-hmm.
focused on, right? It's supporting me, and that's what I'm looking at that as of now. Um, I will see. I mean, at this time, I anticipate within the next 12 to 18 months, we'll see when we have enough cash flow. I can focus solely on real estate, but as of now, I'm able to balance those two. But from a family perspective, it hasn't really changed much from spending perspective, right? Like it doesn't really mean that I can change anything with how we operate. But what it has done is it's given me flexibility and not having the stress of relying on the W-2. Uh, it's just created a different environment. And now, since I've started doing this, I've started involving my kids in the real estate as well. They have come to me, Ohio, 2, 3 times going through these road trips that I do as part of the asset management. So they have seen the work that goes to build business as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to inculcate the same feeling for them to build your own destiny through the entrepreneurial venture, whichever venture they choose. Doesn't have to be multifamily, which I'm hoping they will, but trying to inculcate that entrepreneurial venture of spirit in them as well.
But I mean, that's gotta feel good to know like I'm building something for the future. When I'm 50, 60, 70 years old, these assets will be paid off. They'll be worth, way more. I'm also building a skill that no one can take away from me, right? It's like if you go to partner with somebody on a deal, well, I've already got X amount of units and these deals closed. If you go to ask an investor to partner with you and give you capital, you have more of a track record. And every deal you do only builds onto that. And it's like this flywheel keeps spinning so that you're not solely reliant on this is the only way I can make money as an engineer working a W-2. And if that goes away, I don't know what I'm going to do. Um,
Right.
that's how I felt. It was like I'm worth $150,000 a year as a contractor. That's all I know how to do, and that's the only way anybody's going to pay me $150,000. Like, sure, I could go work at McDonald's, but if I want to make a decent wage, I'm going to have to do it in construction. And getting into this world was like, wow, I can put money with deals. I can find opportunities. I can, use leverage. I can use banks. I can use partnerships. I can find more opportunities. There's really no limit to where I can build this. And I'm not solely reliant on, I've got to go remodel the next kitchen or I've got to go clock in for the next shift on the job. That's got to be a really, really good feeling to have that in your back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And one thing you added in your speak just now, I think one of the other aspect that people don't give enough, I guess, think about it much when you get into the journey is part of really is the partnerships that really help you scale really quickly as well, but also help you with the other aspect, right? Because again, even though you go through that initial journey, you have a good upswing, there are always going to be ups and downs in managing real estate as well, right? There are days when you have 2, 3 issues come up at the same time. So at those days, I mean, you really need to have good partners who are able to roll up the sleeves and be able to deliver as well, which is, and also just from an emotional support perspective as well. Sometimes you just need to vent out, talk to partners, and that's what partnerships does to you as well. So I think that's where I feel like what we have done, me and Mariana, during the last 2.5 years, like build that baseline and basis for continued growth, but also having an alignment across what and how we're going to do it, right? So, and that's the other piece when you join groups that like MFIM, you have people who have similar thought process in terms of, and also I believe you vet them out. I mean, I remember the interview that you did with me as well to make sure that they're not coming there just for the money piece, right? There is certain credibility, there are certain aspects in terms of their nature that creates good partners within that group as well.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's at this point, with the deal room, my sole focus and the biggest benefit from the deal room is the friendships and partnerships I'm making, right? The opportunities it brings me and just like the flow of human interaction. I mean, if I was doing this to get paid a couple $100 a month from the subscription, it's like it's not, it's great, but it's not the be all end all. The be all end all is so that I can meet people like you and the dozens of other people in the deal room that I've partnered with, and see them, really regain autonomy over their life. Like, I don't have to be locked down in a dead end, path where somebody could take that away at any moment. Like, I'm going to chart my own path. And I mean, really, I want to commend you, dude, because what you did is very noble to look at. Like, look, my wife wants to quit her job. She wants to spend more time with the kids. I want to show my children what's possible. I don't want to put my family through a tough situation if I get laid off, and I want to be prepared because I see how hard you work. I mean, it's like, not only are you doing your full-time job, you're also, buying complexes on the side and traveling to see these complexes and doing the work. And so in the short term, your life did not get easier, and it's going to be, and my life definitely didn't get easier when I got into this industry. Now I'm on the other side of that, and it's definitely, I have a much higher quality of life than I did 5 years ago. But the first 2, 3, 4 years, like, it gets harder before it gets easier. And a lot of people, they look at like, well, I'm pretty comfortable now. I'm making that salary. Nothing's on fire. Like, it's okay. And they bumble along until it's too late, And so it takes nobility. It takes grit to say, look, even though things are okay right now, I want to set my family and myself up for the future. And I'm going to do something that's really hard and really uncomfortable.
Yes, no, absolutely. And that's where it comes down to. Like, you have to go through the struggle and rebuilding yourself, which comes at a certain price. Like in my case, where you pointed out, in terms of making sure that I manage the assets properly, deliver to my partners. I've had to use my vacation time to go through all these asset management tours as well. I've made sure, and one of the things that I learned from you as well, is nobody cares about your property like you do. Even though we have good property managers, unless and until they know that you are an involved owner who's going to be on the asset every month or every 2 months maximum, things can go wrong, right? So we make sure that every month or 2 months I'm there. Every time I go there, I do identify a checklist of items, few items, even if it's minor. And what I've realized also is that property managers react more to the owners that are involved as well. It's just natural thing for them to as well, right? So if you want to get value from, even if you have a third party property management, be the involved owner. It comes with the price. You have to be involved. You have to spend time, but that's how you build credibility and you build reputation so that you can continue to build further up.
Right. I love it. Well, Mohit, I really appreciate you joining me today, and sharing your story. I feel like we kind of got into some of the why behind it, right? It's like, it's easy to talk about, well, do this, but unless you have that intrinsic motivation of, this is where I'm going, I don't want to feel this way anymore, this sucks, this is broken, but I got a plan to fix it, and I'm going to stick with that plan. And your story just really exemplifies that. So, man, thank you for coming on the show and sharing these words with everybody.
No, I appreciate the opportunity as well, and look forward to continue the journey with you and the rest of the MFIM group as well.
What kind of parting words would you have to somebody who is maybe considering doing this, or maybe they are doing this, they're in the trenches, but they haven't gotten success yet?
I mean, again, I would say one thing I've learned, number one, perseverance. It's, again, if you see other people achieving success, they are going through that struggle as well. Nobody sees what they have gone through before they achieve success. People see the success, but the success comes later on, right? So going through the trenches, going through those difficult times, and even when you have gone through few successful deals, go through the work as well. So again, everybody goes through the process. It's a process. So just go through it, persevere through it. And two, once you find good partners, continue to stick with them and make sure you continue to do better and deliver for them as well. because your credibility in this industry is everything, like everywhere else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that'll wrap it for today. Mohit, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you're listening, reach out to Mohit. What's the best way to connect with you?
I guess on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I can share with you, Jennings. You can add it to the description.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. But it's Mohit, Mohit Chopra, Chopra.
Yes.
So hit him up on LinkedIn. If he sounds like, man, this guy is somebody I'd want to invest with, somebody I'd want to partner with. I came across a great deal in Ohio. I want to talk to Mohit about it. Hit him up and take some time this week to unlock your life. All right, guys, have a great day. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Thank you.